Hi guys, Ginger here. Today I'm going to show you one of the easiest, most satisfying, most savory meals you could possibly make. Super good for you, super tasty, pretty much a winner for the whole family. I have yet to meet anybody who does not like this meal. We're doing meatball bake today. So I've mentioned before, and it's still true, that we're mostly ketovore here. This recipe I've kind of cobbled together and made up on my own. I will put the details of the recipe in the description below, but just so you know, kind of just threw it all together from my head. But it's so easy to make. It's really difficult to screw up. Pretty much, you can throw almost anything in here and it'll be really good. So we don't normally eat pasta, so this is a good approximation of spaghetti and meatballs without the spaghetti. We start with, I've got ground meat in here. I've got a mixture of beef and pork because I like the way pork keeps the beef and everything nice and moist. We also have what we'll throw in there is we've got Parmesan cheese because we don't use breadcrumbs. Parmesan cheese is an amazing substitute for breadcrumbs to keep, like I use it for meatloaf, I use it for meatballs, anything where you want to bind it all together. Parmesan cheese is a great way to do it instead of breadcrumbs so you don't have to get the carbs. So I use Parmesan cheese and I use protein powder. That's my breadcrumbs. I'm also going to be adding basil pesto because I really like it and because there's not an Italian dish that isn't improved, I think, by basil pesto. I've got oregano and I got a little, this is Montreal steak spice just to add a little, I like kind of paprika flavor. So I'll be throwing that in with some eggs. That's pretty much it. It's ridiculously easy. Just so you know, we only measure by the handfuls here. Oh, sorry. This recipe has no measuring. So I threw a bunch of meat, about this much meat, making a couple of batches. So you can totally do this on whatever scale you want. You can do it, just make 2 meatballs for yourself or 1 for you and a friend. Who knows? But I make it in large batches because it reheats really, really well. And it's easy to freeze. We've got 2 eggs in there. Parmesan cheese. Really just eyeball it, but probably roughly a cup and a half maybe. The trick is not to get hung up on the quantities, guys, because the truth is the only thing that matters is what the consistency is when you're ready to throw it in your dish for cooking. So I'll show you when it's done what it's supposed to look like, and then all you have to do is kind of throw stuff in until it looks right. So I got a scoop of protein powder just to add protein to it because I like the extra protein and because it helps bind it together. Now a scoop and a half, I guess. A little loosey-goosey here. I haven't even started on my wine yet. Oh. There you go, guys. There's a lesson. Check your ingredients before you start filming. So, my basil pesto is garbage. I don't know how that happened. That's terrible. Oven's heated up. So I rooted around in there and I can't find any more basil pesto. But I do have minced garlic. And that's what I'm going to have to do for now. There's no such thing as too much garlic. A healthy tablespoon for that. Our oregano. Also, almost no such thing as too much. There's probably people out there that will say, what the heck are you doing? I'm doing me. And then our Montreal steak spice. That's going to weird a few people out, I think. Not normally the flavor profile you'd put in an Italian meal, but I like a lot of nice paprika in it. And I like it. The good thing is you can basically do whatever you want in this. You can put any spices you want. It's really just meat cooked with sauce and cheese. So, everything's in the bowl, guys. That's it. And then, our magic fingers. I like the magic fingers. Speaking of which, there he is now. Play-Doh was one of my favorite toys when I was a kid. Maybe one of these days I'll use one of those weird Play-Doh. What is it? The shape press? You could press it out into different shapes. I'll make one like an elongated star. Maybe some spaghetti shaped meatballs. That would be weird. All mixed up. kind of just thick and pasty, which is what you want. You want it to be, you want to be able to form it into a healthy set of balls. So I use a casserole dish with a lid. I like them to bake a little, and then last 5 minutes in the oven, I will take the lid off. Let it kind of crisp up the cheese on the top. I'll be making 2 different batches today because we're one of the kids over for dinner who inexplicably does not like spaghetti sauce or cheese on her food. She's gonna have just plain meatballs, just plain spaghetti. A little bit odd. Everything's improved with cheese, if you ask me. I like to make these nice and big so that you can have like 1 or 2 on your plate and it's a whole meal. That's roughly the size of what you want. Good handful. All balls should be a good handful. I ended up needing 3 dishes because I had more meat than I expected. So I've lined them up like this. The blooper reel. That ball does not want to stay where I put it. Okay, I've lined them up like this. Just give them a little space so they crisp up on the edges. We've got 3 in this one, 2 in this one. Then I take my sauce. You can use any pasta sauce you want. I know there are healthier, better pasta sauces out there than this, but I really like the flavor of this one. It's a family favorite. And we're usually pretty good with our diets. We can afford so bad. So, sweet basil marinara. Then we got cheese. Once again, it's measured by the handful. There's no such thing as too much cheese. I like to bury it. And the truth is, when it comes out of the oven, I usually add a little more. I do love cheese. I'm going to put a little bit of this good Parmesan on top too. There's a ton of the powdered Parmesan in there, so I'm not going to add too much because it already has a ton of flavor. That's it, guys. That's literally it. So, I have 6 meatballs, some spaghetti sauce, and some cheese thrown on top. Lid on. Throw it in the oven. I've got that set to 350 degrees, and it usually takes roughly 2 minutes, half an hour maybe. We'll take a look. This is my cocoa bean. So guys, it's been about 20 minutes. I'm gonna check on Brett. Not ready. So we're about half an hour in. I just took the lid off and up the temperature in the oven to 375 just to kind of put it all together. A nice little baked skin on top with the cheese. Wow, looks pretty good. Because remember I said more cheese. First, I'll show you carefully because it's very oozy. So, there's my meatball. Put a little of the sauce and cheese. Throw on there. Sprinkle some more cheese on there. You literally do not need anything more than a fork for this baby. Guys. And here is where I run into audio trouble. Sorry about that, guys. So, the beauty part about this meal is you can have one or two of these and you will be completely full for the rest of the night. It makes the perfect dinner. It's savory and satiating and super good for you. So pour yourself a nice glass of wine, have yourself a fancy meatball, and have a good night. Cheers, guys.